The county's commitment to communication has manifested itself in many successful ways. The county currently publishes a 32-page magazine 3 times a year that informs ratepayers about items of interest, progress reports on projects, policy changes, council decisions, and community news. The publication is distributed to residents through their mailboxes, and the layout and readability of the document have made it a publication that ratepayers often refer to.
County of Stettler has been fairly progressive in how they handle their communications and working with the public. We've implemented the use of iPads 3 years ago for the County of Stettler, where we don't hand out paper agendas anymore. They're able to do all their agendas through the iPad, and it's saved us considerable funding as well. It's more, I think, useful for somebody carrying around an electronic device with all the information on it instead of a ton of books. Communications through the iPad as well as iPhones for council and through staff have also increased the ability to communicate either through texting or through emails. And for those that are a little more adverse to communications, we have some councils that are on Facebook and on Twitter accounts.
But we decided to sort of limp through it and try iPad, even though they didn't have the business integration features at the time, and it actually worked out fairly well for us. We ended up deploying some third-party apps that connected to our servers, and we've now got it to the point where our counselors are able to hit one button and everything that they need downloads.
I use that opportunity to send out weekly updates to my council on various things that are happening and with significant importance that they need to be aware of. So it keeps everybody well informed, and that's the key to successful operations, is to communicate and be effective at it.
Another successful communication project has been the ratepayer complaint form, which has been implemented for just over a year and continues to prove itself a very useful tool for both staff and the public.
One of the strategic priorities of council was to implement a complaint system that would track complaints that come in and they weren't lost in the shuffle where somebody would phone in and they would never hear back from anybody.
So our ratepayer complaint form that we deployed, we did exclusively through Windows SharePoint services, which was a part of what we already have and what most municipalities have in their servers. Even their file servers would have that. So basically that means we were able to just do it for completely free. The setup only took about a day to actually get going. So even the labor behind it was relatively inexpensive, and it integrates with everything we already had in place. So all in all, it was a fairly highly successful project for little to no cost.
A good example of how it worked very well was 2 years ago when we had the record snowfall close to what we had in 1974. The public was very tried in their dealing with the roads and the snowfall, and this was a good test when we first implemented it to be able to answer to the public and make sure that their requests are looked after. And it works very well for the councillors as well, because they feel like we're actually dealing with everybody in the County of Stettler.